welcome to the Carbonite Jedi, where we rediscover the wonder of Star Wars and beyond, the original trilogies. So, tonight I am going to be talking about my favorite Jedi. And I thought that maybe we could have a discussion, maybe a debate, if you feel like it, and we'll discover what favorite Jedi you like. I know I have mine, and they're like my core Jedi. I don't have just one, but I have multiple. Before I do that, I want to say hey to Russell. What's up, Russell? How you doing? So, Russell, do you have any favorite Jedi? I know it's putting you on the spot, but let me know if you have any favorite Jedi. So, I'm going to do a little history right now. I'm going to talk about back in the day when Star Wars first came out, the original Star Wars, before it was A New Hope. It came out, and I thought that Obi-Wan Kenobi was the only Jedi left in the galaxy. You know, he's like, we were a race, and Darth Vader killed us down, and so he was the last one left, and he was in exile, kind of. And then you find out about Yoda. So you're like, oh, it's Yoda. And, well, Obi-Wan was passed away by then. He was unalived by Darth Vader. So it's only Yoda. And then Yoda trains Luke. And Luke becomes a Jedi Knight, I guess. And Yoda passes away. So basically, it's just Luke as the last Jedi. So it goes from Obi-Wan to Yoda. But, during the time that Obi-Wan was alive, Yoda was there, but we didn't know that at the time. So it's Obi-Wan, Yoda, and then it goes to Luke. And then Luke supposedly creates the Jedi Order. But in the prequels, you learn that there was a whole bunch of Jedi. Oh, you're talking about Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, he was a good Jedi until he turned bad. Yeah, this guy, old Anakin, born on Tatooine, where it seems like everything revolves around Tatooine for some reason, because Anakin was born there. Luke goes back there. It just seems like Tatooine. And then when the Force Awakens comes out, I thought that was Tatooine. Hayden Christensen, yeah, he's a good actor. I like him. He's been in a couple of movies that I've really liked. But so in the Clone Wars or the Phantom Menace, the first three movies, the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, there were quite a few Jedi. So I'll show a couple of them. The first is someone that we saw on the council who didn't really have much time. She was in more of the animated series. That's Yaddle. And she was of the same species as Yoda, but they never say what her species is, or they never tell you what Yoda's species is or where they're located. And it's kind of something done by George Lucas. Another person who is one of my favorite Jedi, one of my favorites from the Clone Wars, is Plo Koon. He is the one who found Ahsoka. Now, I would have had Ahsoka up here, but Ahsoka wasn't ever a Jedi. She was a Padawan, and she grew, but she never completed her training. And so I would say she's more of a gray Jedi, which I believe in the gray Jedi. A lot of people don't because it's not canon. But Russell, I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. Him and Luke are one of my favorites. Hello there. That's my favorite. I have a ringtone that I found. It's not a ringtone, but it's a song somebody took, and it's MC Hammer's "Can't Touch This," and it goes dun 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 dun, dun and it goes hello there. It's his voice. It's Obi-Wan's voice. I'm gonna make it my ringtone, so that'll be fun. So back to Plo Koon. He was my favorite. Obi-Wan was my favorite. Yaddle, we don't know much about. Shakti, she was a really cool person. I have a little Wikipedia about her, and it says she was a Togruta, which I actually think that who was it? It was who was the Togruta? Shakti, and it was Ahsoka. Ahsoka was a Togruta. Yeah, so Plo Koon found Togruta. That's what I was going to say. Plo Koon found Ahsoka on the Togruta homeworld. And I think Plo Koon had such a kind, gentle personality about him, and he was always a kind person, to the point where there's one scene in the Clone Wars where he says, "Sergeant, why are you so certain no one is coming?" And one of the clones says, "We're just clones, sir. We're meant to be expendable." And Plo Koon says, "Not to me." And that says so much about Plo Koon and his ideology and how he felt about all these people that thought they were expendable. So, where am I? There. Okay. So yeah, we have Plo Koon, and then we have Eth Koth. I think he was also on the council, and not much is known about him. Maybe I can find him. Hold on. Let me see. That's not how you spell it. There he is. Yeah, he was on the council, and he was a force-sensitive Iridonian Zabrak male. And he was native of the planet Iridonia. And he was a Jedi master within the Jedi Order and on the Jedi High Council. So yeah, one person I did not like, really, and he seemed so weak to me, and that was Ki-Adi-Mundi. Ki-Adi-Mundi was on the council. I mean, I didn't see much of him. He just sat there, and at the end, when Order 66 came around, he just like turns around and just falls down. Help me. I fall down. And they had him in the Acolyte too, which kind of like blew away the age discrepancy of Ki-Adi-Mundi, because his people were supposed to only live like, I don't know, 100 years. And that was way beyond that, because he was like fully grown and like middle-aged when the Acolyte happened, apparently. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ki-Adi-Mundi. Anakin Skywalker, for Russell, there he is. Hayden Christensen. He was great. The council was very uptight about him becoming a Jedi because he was so old, and he had time to, grow his own emotions without them being able to stem it. So they were worried about him. One of my other all-time favorites, besides Plo Koon and Obi-Wan, is Mace Windu. I love Mace Windu. And if you don't know, he's still alive. Hashtag Mace Windu. He's out there. Him falling out the window didn't kill him. He just like used the Force and ran on. He became like Obi-Wan, went into exile probably, because it seemed like every time something bad happens, the Jedi go into exile, and I just think they need to take care of their business. You know, Obi-Wan did it, Yoda did it, Luke did it. Apparently in when he confronted his Ben Solo. So yeah, let's bring Mace Windu back. You know, it'd be funny if they got Mace Windu and Boba Fett together to do something, because there's a feud between them, because Mace Windu killed Boba Fett's dad and Jango Fett in that arena. He chopped off his head. So yeah, it'd be funny to bring him back and have him team up with Boba Fett. Another person that was in the Clone Wars. Oh yeah, definitely. It can't be anybody but Samuel Jackson. I mean, he's got bad MFer on his lightsaber hilt, which is funny. It's got to be Samuel Jackson. Luminari Nduli. She was in the Clone Wars a lot, and I actually have her action figure in Shakti. I have her action figure. I need to get Plo Koon. That would be cool. Another interesting person that was a Jedi, but she was more of a librarian, is Jocasta Nu, and she was in the prequel trilogies. She worked with the Jedi, and she was a Jedi, and she helped Obi-Wan Kenobi with the finding of where the clones were hidden on, I can't remember the name of the planet. Oh, I'm blanking. It'll come to me. Geonosis. No, that was the planet where the bugs were, and where Jango Fett died. Not Geonosis. All right, Russell. Do you know your Jedi? Because I was going to throw some up here and see if you knew who they were. Take a sip of my soda. All right. Here's one for you. Let me know if you know who this is. Starting off easy. And basically, I don't really consider her a Jedi, but they said she is, so. One more time. She was in the last 3 movies. Yay, Ray. Good for you, Russell. All right. Do you know who this is? She has her own Disney Plus TV series. Awesome. 2 for 2. All right, man. This is a little tougher. But I know you can get it if you played any of the movie games. And a lot of people talk about it, and they want Keanu Reeves to play this person in real life. Do you have any idea who this might be? And he dual wields lightsabers, and he was around 1,000 years before the Clone Wars. but he's in some of the Star Wars video games. Yeah, that was a harder one. His name is Revan, Darth Revan. He started off as a Jedi, and then he fell into the dark side. All right. Now here's someone who was in the Clone Wars, Quinlan Voss. He was kind of like a rogue. I mean, he wasn't a bad Jedi. He just was very hard-headed and liked to do his own thing. And I'm not too keen on him. Yoda, I loved Yoda. I thought when he battled Count Dooku, it was awesome. If he wouldn't have had Anakin and Obi-Wan there, I think that he would have beat Count Dooku. And speaking of Count Dooku, there's Count Dooku himself. He was a Jedi who got disillusioned by the Jedi. He thought that they were overreaching and weren't fulfilling their peacekeeping obligations, and that's when Palpatine came in and turned him to the dark side. Christopher Lee, he was an amazing person. And who was Count Dooku's master? Any idea? It was Yoda. Yoda was Count Dooku's master. And they said that, no. Well, I mean, when he turned to the dark side, that's who became his master, the Emperor. But when he was a Jedi, it was Yoda. And they said that Yoda trained, I want to say, 2,500 Jedi over his lifetime. But one guy I'm not too sure about because I haven't seen all the movies or all the shows is Ezra Bridger. I haven't seen Rebels yet. And I mean, he shows up in the Ahsoka series TV show, and he seems like a cool guy, but I haven't really. I know we need an origin story. Are you talking about born or when he became a Jedi? Because they do have an origin story for him for when he became a Jedi. Kit Fisto, that famous smile when he was on Geonosis, that was such a funny thing. And then here's my all-time favorite Jedi, because he was the one I first knew when I was little. Luke Skywalker. You know, he had humble beginnings as a moisture farmer with his uncle and aunt. You think his dad's dead, and he gets propelled into this huge galactic battle, and he comes out as the hero. And so, what kid wouldn't want to be Luke Skywalker? Here is somebody who was in the expanded universe, which they never used. It was in between Return of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace when they came out with these stories of Jason Solo. Jason was a twin to his sister, Jaina Solo. So you have Jason and Jaina, and they have a whole bunch of stories about them, which I think would be fantastic. And then you also have Mara Jade. Mara Jade was working for the Emperor. She was the Emperor's right hand. And her and Luke got involved and had a family in the expanded universe. Let's see. Do you know who this guy is, Russell? before he was a Jedi or his own movie. Oh, okay. Yeah, George Lucas never expanded on where he was from or his home of origin, and I don't think he ever really intended to because he didn't know Yoda would blow up like he did. And this guy was in The Phantom Menace, if you don't remember. Liam Neeson. Yeah, it was Liam Neeson, but he is Qui-Gon Jinn. He was Obi-Wan's master. And actually, Count Dooku was Qui-Gon Jinn's master. And when Qui-Gon Jinn died from Darth Maul, I've always thought that was the thing that tipped Count Dooku into leaving the Jedi Order and what caused him to turn to the dark side from the heartache, because he was really fond of Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, I'm going to show my favorite guys. Plo Koon, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Luke, and Yoda. Those are my 5 top favorite guys. Now, out of those, Russell, who would be your least favorite? So again, it's Plo Koon, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda, and Luke. So tell me, out of those 5, who is your least favorite? Plo Koon is your least favorite. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take, let's see. I'm going to go with, since there, we have Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda, and Luke. I'm going to take Yoda out of the equation because I like Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Luke. So out of those 3, which is your least favorite? I think it would be the least. That's be Luke Skywalker. No. Oh man. So you have Mace Windu and Obi-Wan. Man, I I have to. Wow. Man, that's so hard. Russell, killing me. Guess I killed you first, but let's see. Yeah, you know what? I think I like Obi-Wan a hair more than Mace. Mace is like so. He was so rigid. He was like black and white. This is the way it had to be. Obi-Wan would bend the rules a little bit. He wouldn't break them, but he would bend them, and he was very flexible. Whereas Mace kind of wasn't. You know, they like when he went to arrest the Emperor and said he had to kill him. You know, um, even though I think that the Emperor was faking. You know, I'm sure Mace Windu would have killed him. You know, if Anakin wouldn't have interceded. But I think Palpatine was faking, and he probably did need to be unalived like that, especially since he killed like what four or five other um, Jedi with the snap of a finger. I just don't think Kit Fisto should have died so easily. I mean, he killed like they were all council members basically. At least two or three of them were. But yeah, the reason I didn't really care for Anakin as a Jedi is he was too stubborn. He liked to do his own thing. He didn't listen to anybody really. Begrudgingly, he did, but he didn't really listen to people, and he would just do his own thing. And like when he was going to go save his mom, he went there and he just slaughtered everybody, women and children too, the Sand People. And then he goes crying to Amidala, I killed them all. And I just thought, I just thought Anakin was a little crybaby, and he just, was so easily swayed by Palpatine, just so easily swayed. I mean, not that he didn't sway Count Dooku either. I mean, we never saw that really, but it just seemed like Anakin he just threw away everything for the Jedi. But and Plo Koon, there was rumors back when The Mandalorian came out. Remember when Luke Skywalker showed up and saved the day? There was a rumor that was going to be Plo Koon actually, but they tricked everybody. Yeah, the dark side got him. Yeah, Plo Koon was supposed to be in The Mandalorian. He was supposed to have like lived, which I hope that they can still bring him back because I really like the guy. Shakti and Luminari had supposedly escaped Order 66. In the cutscenes, it shows Anakin killing Luminari, and in another one, it shows General Grievous killing Luminari, or not Luminari, Shakti. It shows Anakin going into Shakti's room and killing her, and it shows General Grievous killing Shakti in the hallway. Luminari, they never said, but there was rumors that both those ladies had escaped and gone to a Jedi temple that was hidden away somewhere, and that was all I know. Yaddle was killed by Count Dooku, which is a shame. And we know what happened to Mace. Jocasta Nu, I think she was killed by Darth Vader. She escaped and was killed by Darth Vader, the librarian lady. Quinlan Voss, I want to say he escaped Order 66. I can't remember. We know Ezra Bridger. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Then she becomes kind of good and grows hair. Are you talking about the bald-headed lady? She's the one that gave Anakin the scar on his face. Anakin had that scar after the Clone Wars, I think it was. Yeah, man, what was her name? I can't remember, but yeah, she was a good one. We know Yoda, he passed away in his bed. Kit Fisto got killed by the Emperor. Luke's still alive. The last 3 movies didn't happen. Ahsoka is still alive. He's alive in the comics. Revan died. He was redeemed, became a Jedi again. Kyle Katarn, I think he died saving Ezra Bridger. And Mara Jade died by. So Mara Jade died when Jason Solo. Yeah, Yoda does need his own movie. Yep, I think he would have. It would be a great movie. So Jason Solo he turned to the dark side and tried to take over. I think he became a Sith, and he killed Mara Jade, who was Luke Skywalker's wife at the time. Aayla Secura, I really liked her in the Clone Wars, and she looked so young, and they killed her. Poor thing. Qui-Gon Jinn, he was the definition of a gray Jedi, and I think that him dying like he did was an injustice. Rey, if you like Rey, I'm happy for you. I didn't care much for the movies. Kirak Infila, he escaped. Luke Skywalker was a hothead at first until Yoda set him straight. Yeah, I mean, so did Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan tried to, get him set up, but he didn't have enough time. But yeah, Yoda trained him in the nuts and bolts of things. So Kirak Infila escaped Order 66, and he almost defeated Darth Vader, but through trickery, Darth Vader beat him. And that little cube right there is a Jedi holocron. Ajunta Paul. Ajunta Paul was a Jedi way back in the old days, who became the first Sith. It says Ajunta Paul was a human male Jedi Master and the leader of the Dark Jedi who were exiled from the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic following the 100-Year of Darkness. So there was a huge fight called the 100-Year Darkness. They went to a planet called Korriban, and he became the first Dark Lord of the Sith. And that's all we know about that guy. And then here's Star Killer. He became Darth Vader's apprentice during the something of the Force. I'm horrible with the video game names. Paris Offie, she was Luminara Unduli's Padawan, who left the Jedi Order and became a Sith, or she turned away from the Jedi Order. And then Saise 10 was on the Jedi Council also. They should do more animated Star Wars TV shows. That's how most of these stories could work, because I'm kind of nervous on these new movies. Yeah, animation gives them a lot more freedom, where they don't have to use like all these humongous special effects. Even if it was CGI, it's a lot more than doing animation. You're right, Russell, I mean, I prefer the real live people doing the movies, but the animation does have its perks. And it probably save them a lot of money because they just using their sound stage that they have for all the special effects, man. That I heard it costs a ton of money to run. So, well, those were my 5 favorite, and it came down to Obi-Wan Kenobi after we cut out our 4 least favorite. I mean, out of the favorites that I had, we whittled it down to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who you said was your favorite too. Was anybody else your favorite besides Obi-Wan Kenobi? Mace Windu. Mine too. And there's a chance that, you know, there's not a chance. We know he's alive. So bring back Mace Windu. Well, Russell, is there anything else you want to chat about or anything like that? If not, I'm gonna shut her all down. But I sure appreciate you coming and chatting tonight. I had fun discussing and having the hard choices of who's our favorite Jedi. Maybe I'll do a favorite Sith one also. But let me know real quick if there's anything else you want to talk about. That's true. Stew and Windu. Windu. Get it up. Yeah. Yeah, man, if they just brought back Mace, I would be so excited. But we'll see. Thanks so much, Russ, for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But remember, the Force will be with you always.